Welcome back. You're watching Rise with India. This is Priyanka Uppal. The Open Network for Digital Commerce, ONDC, which is an Indian government initiative designed to facilitate local commerce across various sectors through an open protocol. This network connects buyers to local sellers and enables small businesses and vendors to participate in e-commerce without being restricted to specific platforms. The network boosts over 4,27,000 sellers and service providers. The network is present in approximately 70% of India's city and is expanding to platforms to include investment and wealth management services also. Low-cost digital infrastructure has been built that would deal in unsecured and secured lending. This will also enable motor, health and marine insurance solutions on the network. And along with that, it comes with account aggregator and DigiLocker adoption. ONDC financial service platform will help increase the wider adoption of investment and wealth services. To wean in more about the entire landscape of ONDC, we have a very special guest today with us. We have MD and CEO of ONDC, Mr. T. Koshy. Mr. Koshy, a very warm welcome to Rise with India. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Mr. Koshy, ONDC is always seen as a revolution disruptor in the industry. Tell us, what is the long-term plan of ONDC and how do you plan to create or transform the entire digital landscape of India?
Okay. So the objective of Open Network Digital Commerce is democratize commerce. What do I mean by that? Today, if you look at globally anywhere in the world, the e-commerce is through walled gardens. Or proprietary platforms. So if you look at any domain, consumer products, in India we have 2 or 3, which forms the collective market share of 80-90%, rest are irrelevant. Take food, there are 2. Take mobility, there are 2. Take fashion, travel, there could be 1 or 2, and so on and so forth. It means each of the domain, there are walled gardens, which means that if you are a seller in one platform, you are visible only to the buyers in that platform. And so what is the disadvantage to the buyer? I, as a buyer, if I go to one platform, I have a limited set of sellers.
Sure.
And what is the disadvantage for a seller? If I am tied up to one platform, I am visible only to the buyers of that platform.
Right.
Let's say I have an ambition to be visible to buyers in 2 platforms. In that case, I had to have a technical integration, a legal integration and a process integration with 2 platforms. So it means it limits the platforms that I will be willing and capable of integrating.
Okay.
So this creates a natural walled garden.
Okay.
So what ONDC is saying is that let's create an open protocol. Okay. If you are a seller and make your product visible in the network using ONDC protocol, you only do that once. You are visible to any buying interfaces that comes. So what is the advantage of seller is that with one integration, he has a common market of eventually 1.5 billion people.
Okay, yes.
And this 1.5 billion people might have been brought to the market by different buying interfaces. Some might be focused on elite urban clients. Some might be focusing on rural assisted commerce. So that is, all of them will work together in one network.
So that means
for the sellers, it creates one common market. For the buyers, it creates infinite choices.
All right. So that means, Mr. Koshy, you're saying you're giving an universal access between the apps and the platforms.
I will make it slightly correct. You're creating a common market. So how it will work is every product or service which is catalogable will make itself visible in the open network using one standard protocol.
Sure.
So that they can be discovered by any buyer coming through any ONDC protocol compliant platform to discover, to negotiate, to enter into a contract, to make the payment, to get the order fulfilled and raise any complaints, if any.
All right. So, but then how convenient is it to switch between platforms and apps? How is that interoperability between the platforms and the stakeholders happening?
Let's say, like I said, there could be any of the buying application or platform,
Sure.
doesn't matter. They should be made ONDC protocol compliant.
Okay.
So if I am in, let's say for example in the ONDC network today, Paytm is an ONDC protocol compliant buying application.
Sure. A
Ola
lot
is,
of big giants are also part of it. Amazon, Flipkart.
no, I'm saying it's in the ONDC compliant application.
Sure, okay.
Well, Amazon is not yet made ONDC compliant. So it means I can go to Ola is there, from Dainijar and Khojla.com is there. So a number of them there. So all of them are ONDC protocol compliant buying application.
Sure.
So you can go any of them, you can still see all the same sellers.
Okay.
If you ask me the established large platforms, have they become ONDC protocol compliant? The answer is no. One of the example is the Ola. Ola, if you look at in the mobility, they are their own platform. They said, my consumers, I have a platform of buyers and sellers for ride hailing. Now I am letting my digital consumers to buy food. I don't have to go and tie up with all the restaurants.
Sure.
Because the restaurants are all not tied up, they will not come and tie. They are already there in 2 of them and now ONDC is there.
Sure.
So now they said, I only give a buying interface as order food. And the request will go to the ONDC network using ONDC protocol.
Okay. All right.
So that's how it will. Eventually, my hope and belief is that established players, just like Ola is an established player who came for one product, and I believe that the rest of them will come. But for them, it's not a priority yet because they are already in an established business.
Sure.
But keep in mind, while you and I might be heavy users of e-commerce, we are a minority in this country.
Yes.
The penetration only 7-8%
Sure.
on the buy side, sell side 2 or 3%. We are talking about expanding both the buyer side and the seller side. So the kind of people, for the elite crowd like you and me, had been so used to, but we belong to the 6 to 7%.
Okay.
But we are talking about expanding the market.
Sure.
If I just give you an example, before, remember UPI came in about 6-7 years ago. Before that you had some wallet and some cards and net payment. Do you know what was the kind of participation that was there?
Very less that time.
Some 250 million transactions a month.
Correct.
Now at that time on the payment side and open,
Now we have 16 crore, I think.
it comes every month about 13 to 14 billion transactions.
Yeah, right.
That is because they all talk to each other.
Correct.
I could be in one bank, you could be in another bank, I could be using PhonePe, you could be using Paytm, they all talk to each other. That is a kind of expansion that happens.
Correct.
If you look at, similarly, if I just give an example, if you look at our mobile phone, 5-6 years ago, we had like Vodafone and Airtel, people who had been using mobile phone for a long time would have been using them. And then Jio came with a different technology.
Sure.
They expanded the market.
Correct.
So that's what I said. These are going to expand the market participation from a large cross section. For example, like you know about Bhashini. Now some of the buying application will plug in Bhashini onto it,
Sure.
so that buying experience can happen in the regional language of the country.
Right.
So these are the
that.
kind of innovation that will happen.
So we are at the nascent stage only. We are
Yes,
the
we are
start
just-
stage only. You're also expanding into financial services platform also. Please tell us your game plan there. Because what we know that you have plans to get into loans, secured, unsecured loans, mutual funds, and even dispersal of hybrid debt funds and maybe equities also.
See, as I explained a little earlier, our ambition is every product or service which is catalogable
Sure.
should be able to make their product visible in the network using protocol. Since it's a globally first idea in India, we started by adding 2 domains, which is grocery and food, and we added mobility and made it available, and people started using it. From last January, we had 1,000 transactions, to this July, we did 12 million transactions. But during this period, we started adding fashion, home decor, beauty and personal care, and so on and so forth. And then we said another product which is complementary and very important is credit. So we don't do any credit. We are not a platform, we are a network. So what did we say? We said that now the credit providers, the lenders, can also make their product catalog visible in the network. Many of these buying platforms who can come and say, now I will help my consumers access the network.
Sure.
So what do we do? So we started with a very simple product to show it works, and then we'll keep adding, the rails will add. How does it work? The buying interfaces, a variety of them are there, will give, hey, now you want a loan. Okay, tell me who you are, what's your credit, what's your credibility, what's your PAN number, and so on and so forth. And digitally it can go and give it to a whole series of lending providers.
Sure.
And that lending providers will have consent to access my account aggregator account and my CIBIL score. So I'm not giving away anything, only the people who are authorized to collect it. Okay. But thing is, they are all connected using a protocol. So because of that, my request will reach the supplier really fast, and the supplier will have to work within the rules of the Reserve Bank of India.
Okay.
We don't make the rules of how to lend.
Sure.
We only say how the buyer information can reach the lender, and the lender in their automated system will consume and digest all the information and offer a loan. And the payment system will make it possible to. So we added one more domain, like we added food, like we added fashion, we added financial services.
Of course.
But the financial service is one of the very important dimension.
Yeah.
Is that in any digital economy, what are the three critical components, especially when it comes to small and micro enterprises? Access to market, which is give you all this buyer application. Access to credit, that means all the credit providers and interfaces to get credits coming. Access to skill. So ONDC being an open network with an open protocol, bring all of them together in a common network.
So this is again, this looks like a disruptor for this space also, wherein a lot of microfinance, NBFC, they are also aiming to give loans. But
no, they are the loans, they are the people who are lenders.
They will be available on this platform.
Yeah, they are the lenders.
Okay, fine.
So their product will be visible on the network.
On the platform.
So we are not giving any, who are the people? Lenders are only the authorized lenders. We cannot lend.
Sure.
The lenders are only RBI approved competent agencies who are there. Now each of them, all of them had to go and get their own platforms to get their oon clients.
So this can be taken as it'll help you with a wider adoption of investment or maybe financial wealth services, which can be accessed to tier 2, tier 3 smaller cities. So what are your long-term plans for this platform, financial services platform?
Financial services, the financial services as a component of the ONDC network.
Yes, correct.
What we will do is we will see a lot more service providers and lenders making themselves visible in the network.
Okay.
As a supply.
Okay.
And different kind of buying interfaces will help their clients. I am just giving, for example, citizen services. I am just making it. They create a buying platform. They can help the rural village folk to come to their office and put their application, and they can get dispersed. Today they may only go to some 2 or 3 NBFCs around.
Sure.
But whereas this buying platform will get them access to a broad cross-section of lenders.
Sure.
And those lenders, based on the quality of information and the quality of their creditworthiness, will give.
Sure.
But for the users, it is giving a lot more option.
Right.
Without going to research out and find out.
Okay.
He may work with CSC buying application.
Sure.
CSC buying application will broadcast that interest to the whole network.
Okay.
So there are large number of lenders who want to deal with that cross-section will come. Otherwise, I have to find out who is there. Imagine I am a borrower. I'll have to ask my friends, which is the place where I should go, who will be. I may only 2 or 3 of them. They may not have facility nearby, or I don't have access. So they may not have an online. Otherwise, if I have to compare 2 of them, I go to one provider's website, private website, do a comparison, then go to it takes so much time.
Sure.
That's why when all say there's 5, for example, in the first product that we launched, the unsecured loan for individuals, so micro loan, the whole thing happens in 6 minutes.
Sure.
I go to the buying side of the application, say that I want a loan. It gets broadcast. I don't even need to know who are the people.
It broadcasts
to all the people who are there.
Okay.
And it also give my consent to access my account, my bank account, etc., from my account aggregator account. So those lenders suck in that information.
Sure.
Their algorithm will see whether I am eligible. That ONDC doesn't decide based on my bank statement. Sure. And conclude that in a matter of seconds because it's digitally driven.
Right.
And they will decide yes or no. 6 minutes is all what it is.
All right. So what we see is more about this interoperability gives you a lot of convenience
options,
options,
reduce
and
cost.
easy adoption, reduce cost, and reduce time and effort also.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much, Mr. Koshy, for being with us, giving us a detailed explanation about the platform, help us understand the different features. Thanks very much for coming to our show today.
My pleasure, beta.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.